Well, welcome to my expanded studio. There is now 3 reformers with towers and my old ones, my Cadillac, my reformer with tower, and then my other props and stuff. So I did expand kind of abruptly, but it happened. I'm glad, because I was starting to limit myself with how many appointments I can take, since I was working about 25 hours a week, which, is a lot when it comes to what I do specifically, where it's private one-on-ones, because people have issues and injuries and are looking for something a little bit more holistic, going broad, and also giving them home programs. So they kind of are always in contact with me, even when they're not here in the studio. So let's talk about how much it actually takes to open up a little small studio all by yourself. I believe each of my newer studio tower with reformers is about 9,000 each. And this is the custom color putty. So if those of you who want something not white, because I did have a white one and then changed it to black, and then didn't like how dark the black would be, because I actually don't like having my fluorescent lights on, because it's kind of an eyesore. And hence my little mood lighting that I have on the side, which is a little bit orange. But yes, about 9,000 each, shipping, delivery, which the delivery on the other hand was kind of crazy, because I had to do it all by myself since they arrived 4 hours earlier than I told them. And well, I got to take that in by myself. I'll show you a little clip. Let me show you the rest of the studio. So I have my little mood lighting in the back, and then my desk with all my stuff for socks. I got a couple more shelves for my clients so that the props are on shelves, easy to access, and not too much has changed on the side where my desk is, but I have adjusted things so that way they can all fit in the studio. Okay, so with that said, how was I able to afford it? I've been in business for 4 years. Of course, 2.5 of those years were kind of terrible because of what happened in LA with all the guild strikes for actors and the AI boom that kind of abrupted all of our creative people in the industry. Hence, a lot of people ended up moving out of town from LA or have changed cities for other benefits. But with that in mind, the last 2 years have been, I think, double the amount those other first 2 years were for me, because things kind of calmed down with the economy. Of course, stuff still hit the fan. Not saying that it didn't, but my clientele who have all the injuries and stuff were just finally a little bit more at peace and coming in and wanting to find something that they could keep a routine with. So hence the studio now. The way that I did it, because I needed it to be quick and fast since it was kind of last minute, and the renovation took about 2.5 weeks, with tearing down the wall and the little things in between of that. But yeah, I have used Affirm to do my initial payment for the new equipment, because that was the quick and easiest way, and use Stripe as my partial for the rest of the loan, because that was the easiest for me at the time, because I was not planning it to be this abrupt. I was actually planning it for around December this year, but the guy next door moved out, and so I got the space. But yeah, that was one of the quick ways. No interest with the Affirm if you pay it off in 6 months, which was nice. It's more manageable for cash flow. And then Stripe just takes it out with each transaction I process. So it pays it down without me having to look. Yes, it is very big on interest, not interest, but the amount it takes per transaction, because they already have their processing fee. But I was able to afford it. So the outcome we'll find out maybe in a couple more months on how the studio actually does, because I am excited to finally bring in some new people, especially people who could not afford my private rates. So now with my 3-4 classes, max client classes, then at least these people can afford it to come in a little bit more and get somewhat of the same benefits if they commit a little longer, because I do still prioritize on giving individual adjustments for each person depending on what's going on with them. And also looking forward to how that goes with the teachers that I've met through their initial comprehensive training. So those are people who have finished their modules for 500 hours but are starting to do their practicing hours and also like practice teaching. So practicing their self and then practice teaching. So I usually have 1 or 2 instructors only for the year who I let them teach me because I have my own issues, and I tell them how to adjust, but also I give them some ideas on how to adjust for classes that are very large, which now is about 8 to 10 people per class. And then also, of course, with private sessions who may need a little bit more options on cueing. Because I think one of the things that we miss out a lot in the cueing process is just how to give people different visuals, and that changes for each demographic because technology happened at certain points and periods, and some people grew up on iPads, which will be a whole nother thing when we get to that one day. But yeah, the studio's expanded. I'm very excited. I got almost all my things. I will be replacing the vinyl on my old equipment so that way it matches, but that is something in the future. And I'm getting a couple more props to put on the wall and putting back my Joseph Pilates pictures once I get that done, so that way I can just have the handyman do it all at once. But that's the studio update. I know it's very abrupt compared to all my other videos, but that's what life does, you know, and it's been an exciting time and also a very sad time. Because a couple of my clients ended up moving away, and those were people who were long-term clients of mine, but at least I know that I gave them the best I could, and they still try to do their exercises while they're away from me. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys next time.